Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. I'm so excited for this episode of Free. So we are on episode 11, which there are 13 episodes in this season. So this is not the penultimate season finale episode. This is the second to last. So we still have 2 more episodes of season 2 before we end this season. And man, last episode, huh? We got all the Sosuke backstory, all the angst, and Haru may be coming to grips with the fact that he has had this antagonism for Sosuke this entire time, and maybe there's been, maybe he's been a little hard on Sosuke. Maybe in the preview when he goes up to talk to Sosuke, there's more to it. They're not just challenging each other. But man, the Rin last episode was off the charts. I know I said that Sosuke was pining for Rin, but man, Rin with the shark tears and everything, it was just, it was that dose of free angst that I love. I did want to mention a couple things that I made notes for before we start episode 11. I didn't really touch base on this last episode, but I was rewatching some of the episodes from season 2, and back in episode 8, Sosuke giving Nitori the advice because he sees Nitori as swimming in bad form, and he's like, hey, you don't need to do that. You don't need to push yourself beyond your limits. Like, he stares directly into the camera and says, don't push yourself, and it was a great tie-in to the fact that it was a nice bit of foreshadowing to Sosuke being like, it's funny that Sosuke gives that advice to Nitori when he can't take his own advice, and it's his own fault that he's pushed himself to the point where he can't swim with that shoulder. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then Sirdan 250, I hope I said that right. You and Basic Otaku, you guys were talking in a previous episode, way back in episode 7, when it aired on YouTube. You guys were talking about the animal that Sosuke is. And so I finally wanted to bring it up here, and that I love that Sosuke's animal is a whale shark. I love that. It's so perfect. And we got talking in the thread on the comments about this, and this really cool thing was pointed out, that there's this kind of weird mirroring with certain characters between Samazuka and Iwatobi. Like, of course, Nitori and Nagisa, we instantly see as mirrors of each other. They're the sun and the moon. You got Nagisa, that's Little Ray Sunshine, the penguin, and you got Nitori, that is the moon, that's this more like conservative, by the book character. He's not like carefree and loosey-goosey like Nagisa. And we don't know what Nitori's animal is yet. Don't spoil me. I hope that we find out, because I think it's a jellyfish. I think that's what it is, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I find that interesting. And so then with Sosuke and Mako, there was a thing of, somebody had said way back in like episode 5 or 6 that Sosuke was the dark version of Mako, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. But these two brought up a really good point, in that Mako his animal is an orca, or a killer whale, and Sosuke's is a whale shark, and they're kind of opposite each other. So like the whale shark, you think shark, and you're like, oh, that'd be this aggressive thing. But in reality, it's just like a bottom feeder. It just feeds off the bottom of the ocean, and a whale shark is actually really gentle. Like if you ever go, like whale sharks and nurse sharks, they're like harmless. They're not really gonna bother you that much. So it's funny because Sosuke has this like broody, intimidating exterior, and you think he's all like tough and terrifying, but in reality he's this big old softy, and it's like, aw. And then Mako, on the other hand, is an orca, which looks cute and cuddly, but is a killer whale and is extremely aggressive when it's riled up. So I'm like, Mako looks cute and cuddly, but when he's riled up, you don't want to mess with him. Interesting. So I thought that was a cool thing to note. I was like, I want to bring that up before the episode starts. The other thing I wanted to point out before we start is that we have this episode and then 2 more after that. And then I am going to watch season 3 of Free, of course. But there's a couple things I'm going to watch before that. So there's an OVA that I've been told is really fan-servicey and wonderful that we're going to watch right after the season's over. And then there's a Starting Days movie and Take Your Marks. So the OVA, so once the season's over, we're going to do the OVA and then Starting Days and then Take Your Marks and then dive in to season 3. So lots of free content. I am so excited. I'm finishing up. I started this show at the same time that I did Banana Fish and Run with the Wind. And Run with the Wind is ending this week, and Banana Fish is ending next week. And I'm like, man, these shows, I've been watching them for like 6 months now. all together, and I'm going to be really sad when they're all done, but we'll still have free. So I'm still happy. I'm still like, not all the shows are ending, just those two. But yeah, so in any case, thank you all so much for watching along with me. I know most of you have watched this show before. It's part of your childhood, it's part of your like high school days, your staple. I'm so glad I found the show because it is just, I don't know, we were talking about it a few episodes ago. The angst in this show, it's like, it's not sad angst. It's like a guilty pleasure angst. Like it's kind of like you eat spicy food and it gives you a burn and it kind of hurts, but you kind of like it. That's how Free's angst is. It's like you're not gonna feel bad afterwards. It's just gonna kind of hurt going down a little bit. And that's all we can say. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy the episode, and we're going to start episode 11, Backstroke Turn of Fate. Backstroke implies Mako, so curious. In any case, we're going to start that episode here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Get in, loser! We're going to a foreign country! We're really doing this. Man, okay, so what you're trying to tell me, Free, is that episode 10, we had a So-Rin episode. This episode, we have a Mako Haru episode. And next episode, we're getting Rin Haru? Is that what we're doing? And in the season finale, y'all can decide which one wins. That's so exciting! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Okay. So, this episode, I've said it all season. This season's so fun. And the last, 4 episodes, I've been like, this episode was so good. This episode was so good. This episode was so good. Man. So, yeah, Haru's angst. Here's the thing about Haru. And it's just like, Haru's just so undecided with himself. And Haru's whole thing has been about being free. Like his parents. And he's kind of an introverted guy to begin with. Like, he's able to live on his own. And he follows the same routine. He gets in a routine. He doesn't like change. He always eats mackerel. He always does the same routine over and over again. He likes swimming. It's something that is familiar, that is routine to him. And I totally get that. My younger brother, my family jokes that he's kind of like Sheldon Cooper. Like this is my spot. Like from Big Bang Theory. My brother is very much routine. And if you mess up the routine, my brother's like, what are we doing? And Haru is kind of like that. Like he's very resistant to change. Like he just wants to have the same thing happen. And so of course, he's lived by himself. He's taken care of himself, ate the same food, done the same pattern. And now he's faced with the certain fact that things will change. That there's no getting out of it. Like you can't stay in high school forever. You're going to graduate. You're going to have to do something. It's just, what are you going to do? And naturally, and it's understandable that Haru doesn't want those decisions to be made for him because then he doesn't have any control in the situation. Like, he's had control over his life and been able to make his own decisions and take care of himself and live by himself and, had all this free reign and been free. And now that's potentially going to be taken away from him. And of course that's scary. But the problem is that his friends are trying to communicate with him. They're trying to express their emotions and their concern. And Haru's taking it as, you guys are just thinking of yourselves. You're not thinking of my wishes and what I want. And I'm just going to shut you all out. And so I was amazed. Well, of course, Sosuke coming over to Iwatobi and Sosuke being like, look. and Haru's like, why do you care so much for Rin? And it's like, Haru, Sosuke is Rin's #1 fan. There is no question. So Sosuke, if it's a one-sided love, it's a one-sided love. I mean, you can be a Soren fan, and I totally see it, and you may think that it's just unrequited and it's just all. There is no denying that Sosuke cares about Rin a lot, and Sosuke is privy to the knowledge that Rin does his best when he's competitive with Haru. Like, and Sosuke, we established in the last episode, had Sosuke wanted to be the friendly rival with Rin, and it may just be. And what I loved about this episode with Sosuke was that Sosuke's accepted that I'm not going to be your friendly rival anymore. We're not going to be rivals, but I'm just going to be your friend. And it's like, I want to know what his dad does. So Sosuke's pretty much committed that he's not going to swim anymore. He's going to do whatever his family's business is. So don't spoil me, but I'm really excited to find out what that is. Because I'm sure the show is going to tell us, but that makes me excited. I'm like, I'd picture something like in construction or something, but then again, Sosuke can't use his shoulders, so that's probably out, so I'm curious. But yeah I'm so curious what's going to happen with him. But I love that Sosuke's like, my dream already came true. I got to swim with you guys in a relay and swim as friends. It's like, so he's like, I'll just be your friend now instead of your rival. So he goes to Haru and he's like, okay, I can't be Rin's rival anymore in terms of swimming because shoulder, what have you. But you need to step up and be his rival now because Rin needs a rival. He needs someone to keep him encouraged and keep him swimming at his best. And you need to step up. So on the one hand, Sosuke probably came about it the wrong way, but he's not wrong. And of course, Haru takes offense to that. He's like, why are you here? Why are you telling me things? Why do you care about Rin? Why do you think I care about Rin? And he's like, you care about Rin. Regardless if it's platonic or not, you care about Rin, so step up. And I love, Momo's grown on me the last couple episodes. I said last episode it might be Stockholm Syndrome, but I really, his little line about summer never ends. It's eternal summer. Eternal summer. As long as you're alive, there's always going to be a summer. And that's what his brother told him. And so he's like, Nitori. And I feel like Momo's view is very different than Haru's. Momo's like, change happens all the time, but we're always going to have summer. Like, that won't ever change. So I almost wish Haru had been a fly on the wall to hear Momo's perspective, because that might have helped him a lot. And I wonder if that's going to come up to play in future episodes, maybe. But Momo's like, it's okay that things change, Nitori. We'll still have summer, and they'll still be the swim team, and you can still swim. So you can still swim with Rin again someday. It'll be all right. And it's like, that's so sweet. Although Pyunsuke, that stupid stag beetle, Sosuke's right. Put it back in the mountains. Go ain't gonna want that. Get the girl something better. And Nitori being kind of melancholy about it, because of course that's in Nitori's character to be slightly melancholy. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Australia in a minute. But first off, Rei and Nagisa, I love that they're study partners. I love Rei's room. I love that Rei kept the souvenir, and I love their conversation that they're both concerned. They're both concerned about getting new members, but more importantly, they're concerned that they're not going to be able to swim with Haru and Mako anymore, because that's rough, you know? If you've ever been on a competitive team, and it's a team you really, really enjoyed, and you're the younger member of that team, like I've had that experience where I've been on a team, and I was the younger member, and so it is sad when your seniors graduate, and they leave, and it's a new team dynamic, and it's kind of scary because you don't know what to expect. And it is sad because you don't get those same experiences anymore. But in the same vein, it's like, oh man, you still kind of feel for it. So yeah, so they had the intervention idea. I was like, okay, good, we'll have an intervention. And it did not go well. Haru was like, nope. And I find it interesting that we talk about Mako being the orca at the start of this. I was like, oh my god, what timing, because Mako showed his orca, his killer whale side here. He's like, look. And he's like, do I have to spell it out for you? And Haru's like, yes, I am blunt. You need to be as blunt as possible. I need to know these and in simple terms. And so Mako's like, fine, we all love you. You're important to us. We want you to be in a healthy mindset. So maybe you do need to think about these things and at least find out some answer for yourself before you move forward, because you're just dragging yourself down and you're dragging down the people around you that are trying to help. And it's like, if that's not a confession, it's like, oh. And then as soon as Haru said, he was like, oh, well, you haven't even decided. I was like, but he has, and he's been trying to tell you this whole time and you've been pushing him away. And Mako going to school in Tokyo. Which, here's the thing, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, because if we look to where Iwatobi, um, yeah, if we look at where Iwatobi is on the map of Japan, because somebody made this really cool thing, like way back when, about where all the things take place in anime, like where all the things are in relation to each other. And so I got to pull this up. So Iwatobi and Samazuka are nowhere near Tokyo. Nowhere near. They're like way on the west side, and Tokyo is like the central east. So there are hours and hours and hours away for Tokyo to Iwatobi. So it's like, yeah, in the Totori region. So yeah, here's the thing. That means that Mako's going far away. That means he's not going to be anywhere close to Haru. And I think that internally that's also what Haru's been afraid of, is that Rin and Mako, the people he's close to, that he's friends with, are going to leave him and go off and do their own thing. And it's not going to be the same. And that change is going to be too much for him. And he's like, I don't want to lose my friends. And so he's in this case of denial, like, I don't want things to change because I don't want my friends to move away and do their own thing. But the thing is, that happens. That happens. I've had, like, best friends from high school that now live states and states away, and we still keep in touch, and we still are really good friends, and we still talk, but they live thousands of miles away, and that's just part of it, you know? That's part of being an adult and growing up and accepting that change and working with it, you know? So I feel for Haru, and I understand his position more this episode. And it's hard sometimes because Haru is not a character that talks a lot. He's not a character that communicates well, so it can be hard to read him. But after that confession by Mako, he's like, do whatever you want, fine. And it's like, oh, buddy, you're just scared of the change and that you might not see these people again. And that's so sad. But then I didn't think we'd get an after credit scene. I was just all ready for the preview. I was like, let's see this preview. And then Rin's like shows up Mean Girl style, and he's like, get in, loser, we're going to Australia. It's like, so I'm curious if Rin's been invited to be scouted by this team. If they were like, hey, remember this kid that used to swim for us back in middle school? He's now really good in high school. Let's talk to him. And it's like, So I'm wondering, the idea of Rin and Haru on a broad adventure is something I never thought I'd see in this show. When Rin had the letter to Australia, I was like, oh, cool, he's going to go back. And when they said they had a week off before nationals, I was like, oh, this is how the plot's going to work. They're going to have a week off. Rin's going to fly out to Australia and be scouted by this team. And that's going to be part of the deal, is that Haru's going to be like, Rin's going to potentially go to Australia. What do we do? And then there's going to be this week of them having the intervention and stuff. But no, Rin's like, did he even pack a bag? Did he even pack clothes? Rin's just like, come on, put your clothes on, let's go. Did he even bring anything to wear? Which, you know what, they're in high school. I know high school people that have gone on random trips and they just had like a backpack and were like, okay, we'll be back in a week. And it's like, you guys didn't pack anything. So I'm so excited, guys. I am so excited. This episode was a great setup for the last two, and I'm so excited because, man, it's gonna be fun. Ooh, which I feel next episode is gonna come off the tails of Banana Fish ending. So I have a feeling I'm gonna need a really good dose of serotonin in my system, and this looks like it. So maybe this timed out just right. Please, no spoilers, guys, but I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am. I'm so excited. So next week, we're going to see episode 12 of Free Eternal Summer. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Have a wonderful week. Please stay safe and take care. And yeah, I'll talk to you all again real soon. Bye.